You know, a lot of people, I know that a lot of people, right, um, didn't grow up with their parents in the household, right? Um, and I was grateful to have two parents in the household, right? I know I mentioned before about, my father, right? Having my father in my life, right? How that was a blessing, right? How that made me to the man I am today. But guys, having two parents in the household, I can't I man, growing up, I never knew how blessed I was, right? Until I got older, until I kept getting older. The older I got, I'm like, wow, this is truly a blessing because I see a lot of my peers didn't have two parents in the household. They didn't have, they didn't have that. They have to figure stuff out on their own, just like my father did. So I was fortunate enough to have my two parents in the household, man, and I can't. And now, as I'm getting older, man, I'm like, wow, like it, it's it, I, it's a true blessing. I can't express how grateful I am for that because I don't know where I would end up if I didn't have both of my parents in the household, right? To check up on me to make sure I'm okay. Yeah, I share my location with them. They just want to make sure I'm okay. What I'm saying. And some parents may not always be the best for their kids, right? Some people do complain about their parents are, all these, yeah, it might be true. Well, I wouldn't know that because I wouldn't know you, right? But I wouldn't know what your situation is at home. That's between you and your parents, right? But as far as me, like, I don't take my relationship with my parents for granted, right? Because they're getting older, man. They're in their 50s now. They're in their 50s now. I'm 20s, right? I'm in my 20s, right? You know, I don't take my, relationship with them for granted, right? Because, you know, you know, when they pass away, man, I need to be able to take care of myself, right? I try to cherish every moment I have with them while they're still on earth, right? You know, and yes, we all have an expiration date, right? You know what I'm saying? You never know when, that's why I always tell you guys live in the present moment, right? But maybe they got like 20 some more years of living, then they're in the dirt, man. They're in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? And I need to be able to take care of I need to be able to step up, be able to have a family of my own one day. You know, that's why I'm trying to look for a wife. I plan on having, getting married to the right woman and, be able to have kids, with one day so I can start my own family, right? Because, you know, my parents did it all, man. They've done it all. My dad, he's done it all, right? It's probably still more goals he wants to accomplish, right? But for the majority of the part, man, he accomplished most of the things he wanted to accomplish, right? So that's why, man, if you have parents in the household, man, don't take your relationship with them for granted, man. Don't do it. Please don't. Right? Because you going you know, you need to be able to take care of them. When the older they get, man, you need to be able to take care of them, right? You need to be there for them. And then, because it's rare that kids have parents in the household these days. It's rare. It's rare nowadays. If you have parents in the household, when you need to cherish them, the moments you have with them while they're still alive. You have to. You need to, right? So, you know, I just can't express how grateful I am for having them in the household, man. I can't express it, right? And there was a lot of times where I didn't listen to them, right? I didn't listen to my parents what they were telling me, why we're doing this, why it's a reason for everything. They used to tell me all the time, it's a reason for everything. It's a reason why, you know, they took me to one school district to a better school district. At first, I was mad about that, but it was a reason why they were trying to put me in a better situation so I can have a better education for myself, right? and end up working out in the long run. So it's a reason for everything, man. It's a reason why they tell me to do the things I need to do, because they know because they've been through it. They've been through it all, right? They know how this life works. This life is not a game. This life is not a game, and it's really it's really hard out here nowadays too, because the cost of living, and you know the cost of living is going up. Is bills are all that's increasing. Like none of this stuff is a game. This life is not a game. You need to take your life seriously. I'm not telling you that you can't have fun, right? I'm not telling you can have a good time and enjoy life. You can do that, right? But make sure your priorities are taken care of, right? Then you can have fun, right? So, you know, don't don't take it for granted, man. Don't take your relationship with them for granted, right? Because you'll regret it. I'm telling you, you will regret, like not having that close relationship with them, right? Cause I used to, what I'm saying, I used to didn't want to talk to my parents for real. I mean, they'll be like, Jada, how's your day going? So they just want to make sure I'm good. They want to make sure I'm good up here mentally, right? I used to, kind of shove it off a little bit. I used to give them one word, give them short answers, and like just be to myself. But nah, man, you need to actually talk with them when you're going through something. Talk to them, and ask them why am I, what I'm saying, what's going on, why am I feeling this way? What I'm saying, yeah, you could talk to a therapist. I'm not saying you can't talk to a therapist. That's what going to therapy is for. But you know, majority, your parents will have the answers as well, right? If you just talk to them and tell them what's going on, they'll try to work and talk to you through it. So you know, back to what I was saying. I used to do dumb stuff, right? I used to do stupid stuff, right? But they got to a point, man, where they got tired of talking to me. They got tired of talking to me. They was like, Jaden, you gonna have to figure this out on your own, son. You gonna have to figure out. You got to figure this out on your own. Like, we're tired of talking to you. You're gonna have to learn the hard way, right? Because if you know better, you'll do better. If you know better, you'll do better. All the mistakes I used to make, I used to think about like, man, no, I don't want to go down this path. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail, man. I want to be able to live my life, have my freedom, be able to create my family, create content, do something to make money for myself, do something to inspire others, right? I want to be able to, do these things. I can't do these things from jail. I can't do that. So I knew better. So I decided in my mind, I need to do better. I need to do better. And I feel like lately I have been doing better, right? You know, I always have been a good person, but I feel like I'm a better person now. I feel like, so I've always been a good person, but I feel like I'm a better person now than I was a few years ago or a year ago, right? So, you know, it's things I still need to improve on. Not gonna lie, I still need to improve on some things, but it's called growing pains for a reason. It's called growing pains for a reason. So, guys, like, don't take your relationship. If you live with your parents right now, man, don't take your relationship with them for granted. Cherish the moments you have with them, right? Cherish the moments you have with them. All right. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.